Okay, oh, what happened? All right. Okay, so I'm Susanne Stanke. I'm part of Siemens Technology in Germany, and I will present you the smart contracts which we have implemented to enforce the data sharing agreements between data provider and consumer. And those are part of the trust, security, and privacy building block. So I will quickly show you the concept of the whole smart contract manager. So the smart contract manager extracts the contractual parameters from the semantic description of the data offering and then puts it in a JSON template and is then able or ready to be presented to the consumer, and the consumer can then simply create a data purchase request by possibly updating the contractual parameters, and eventually we can create an agreement contract by invoking the smart contracts. We have multiple smart contracts right now. We can also enforce service level agreements, data sharing agreements, really specifically for the data transfer between data provider and consumer. And then also we have the agreement manager smart contract, which is responsible for issuing claims and resolving conflicts. The smart contract manager is also tightly coupled with other subsystems. For example, automatically triggering payment or the creation of invoice, or obviously also resolving any conflicts in case of violations. Today, I will only present you the smart contracts, mostly the smart contract for the data sharing agreement, since the smart contract manager was planned for release 2 and is therefore still in progress. Okay, so we implemented the smart contract in DAML, which is basically a universal smart contract language, which we can then later integrate into different blockchain technologies. For us, it will be Hyperledger Besu, obviously. And the smart contract contains all the different functionalities, for example, to obviously create and update agreement contracts, to secure and then also obviously automatically enforce them. We can issue claims in case of any violations and terminate them at some point. To implement the smart contracts, we first analyzed the different components of a service level agreement and also a data sharing agreement. We looked at the entire life cycle. What do we want to enforce on the blockchain? And since we did not know what could happen to such an agreement, we modeled all the possible executions in color patternettes and then also formally verified the models. Yes, so how to create an agreement, issue claims, and so on, I will quickly show you in a demonstration. Right now, it's not integrated yet, as I mentioned before. So I will demonstrate it to you in the DAML sandbox. So we log in as a data provider. We see there's no active smart contract. We take the data sharing agreement template and we fill out all the different fields. So we have provider and consumer, they are already registered. Creation date would be today. And then we say start date should be next week, Tuesday, and then end date at some point. And obviously we would be, or the consumer would be allowed to copy the data, for example. Data type could be today, let's take manufacturing, data format JSON, and data source some kind of URL. And we submit the contract, hopefully we'll go through. Yes, great. Since I started it a couple of 1 hour ago already. And then we log out, we log in as a consumer again, and we see, oh, there's a new data sharing agreement proposal. Let's check the fields, and then if everything is correct, we can accept or reject. Today we're going to be nice and we're going to accept. And we can see that we now have the data sharing agreement contract put on the ledger. At some point, the provider decides to transfer the data, hopefully in time, and we trigger the transfer data. And we see on the consumer side we have a notification which says the data has been sent. Let's assume that the data was not complete. So we go back to our contract. I'm going to already copy the ID, and we're going to issue a claim saying the data is incomplete. And we see also in our claim, in our contracts, the claim has been created. We go back to the provider, and we also see the notification regarding the claim, and we say we want to disprove the claim and upload some file, which basically in the end will be a link plus the hash, the file. And then we submit, and that is where we're going to stop today already, since this is where the conflict resolution component will come into play. And again, this is also only planned for release 2. So that is it already for our presentation on the smart contracts for data sharing agreements. And I will hand back to usually